Hello film dudes and dudettes, it is Nick here. Thank you for joining me for another face video. I'll think of a better name than that, but for now that will do. I've recently launched the first short film on the IBA Film Dude channel, Surveillance. Click below if you haven't already seen it, but being great little filmmakers that you are, I'm sure you've already done so, and now you want to hear a little bit about the process. Now, I didn't want to take you through the technical ins and outs, rather I wanted to take you through my thought process. Deciding on how you're going to actually shoot a film, or more importantly, how you're actually going to communicate with your actors is one of the biggest differences that I think you can see between a low or no budget aspiring filmmaker short film versus a proper big budgeted feature film with an experienced filmmaker. Okay, so how did I make Surveillance? Well, I knew that we had limited resources. There was only really myself, Kylie the actress, and my girlfriend who held a boom pole on the day of the shoot. We had someone else along to just simply gain experience into film and video production. There wasn't necessarily other people that I could rely on to help me with camera operating or cinematography or location management. There was no first AD. It really, fell on myself to be quite strict and smart in how I scheduled everything and how I covered everything on the day. How I did that was really just breaking down the script. Now I have here the script that I used on the day of Surveillance. It is muddy, gritty, there could be some blood on it, there's definitely some sweat and tears on it. But it basically outlines my plan for when I was shooting. On the left-hand side is the cinematographer or camera operator side of my brain. I listed all my shots that I knew I wanted to get, so when I got back into the edit, I knew I had enough coverage. On the other side though, I left space for the directing side of my brain, because I don't know if you're like me, but if I'm doing more than one thing at once, i.e. operating a camera and directing, I find it very hard to do both. So either I'm going to be focusing purely on direction and the camera's going to be aimed at my actor's feet, or I'm going to get some great framing and great composition, but I'm not exactly evaluating how that actor is performing, and that's clearly a very important thing. I wanted to make sure that if I found myself overwhelmed, I could pull a simple word out of my hat or off the page to kickstart my brain to start the discussion with Kylie into how I might like her to play this particular scene or particular moment, or just to remind ourselves of, say, the given circumstances or the facts that have occurred to the character before we get to the scene that we're about to start shooting. So given circumstances are basically a set of forces or a set of scenarios that has already occurred to the character, facts, things that have happened to the character before we start rolling or before we find the character in the scene that they are just about to start playing in. In Surveillance, I set this short film in a dystopian future in some degree, where the society decided to pull the plug on its smartphones and smart technology and artificial intelligence. So there we have a given circumstance. That helps the actor actually grasp onto the reality of what is the scene and what is the character. So given circumstance, I really encourage you guys to think what are the given circumstances for your script. And if you're wearing many hats, make a note of them so that you can just remind yourself and the actor of the given circumstances of a scene. What's happened in the scene just before? Or what's happened to the character's life just before we find the character in the situation they're in. The second thing I noted on the page was action verbs, as I mentioned. So what do I mean by action verbs? Well, let me actually take you through a scene in Surveillance. We're going to skip to the end of Surveillance, which is the little battle, the little word-a-thon between the character Hannah and the CG character Susan. So here we are, Hannah's fighting the machine, the machine's too smart for her. So right up just before Hannah's about to get crushed, she's about to get killed, there's nothing else around her to help her, so she looks to the wall and just happens to spot a little poster with the name Lost Dogs on, and she thinks of a way to overcome that. Now, the action verb I actually wrote on the script is taunt or jeer at. Now, I could of course say, be scared of the camera that's about to kill you, and then say your line. But if you think about it, what is being scared? You know, I'm scared of many, many things in real life, and I actually wouldn't know how to act being scared right now in front of you. Or maybe I am scared in front of the camera, and this is my scared face. I don't know. So the key with action verbs is you get to give the actor something physical to try and actually grab onto, to play with. So I said taunt or jeer at. So I want you to taunt the camera because now you've found something that might save your life. So I want you to taunt that camera to buy some time. So there you have it, a couple of points about how I made surveillance. So the next short film that you're making, maybe you'll use the same tactics. Think of some nice given circumstances and clear action verbs that you can just jot on your script or sides that you have with you on the day, so that if you are in the middle of camera operating or you know, gaffering your own film, you know that you have some point of reference to go back to get you back into the mindset of being a director, because that is a very important thing to do. I hope you like this. Look, if you have any questions about how I made the short film or the approach, again, I like to take with short films, please let me know, whether that's the technical aspect or the craft aspect, I suppose, of filmmaking. And of course, please subscribe for more. I'll have a lot more short films coming, a lot more ideas in this little brain, and hopefully you're going to learn a bit along with me on the path to be a better filmmaker. Thanks.